Everyone all over the world celebrates Valentine's Day. But if you try to Google the reason or the story behind the celebration, you would realize that there are several stories and folk tales attached to its origin, which for me makes it a tradition that was conceived by men for men, which holds no major significance to Christianity at all, because it was, and if it was, it would find its way in the Bible, you know. And I know that a lot of people right now are just looking at me and like, what's she saying? But let me cut you some slack, okay? It's Valentine's Day. It was Valentine's Day yesterday, and it's a tradition. So might be saying, there seems to be no harm in that, but the harm is, how do we celebrate it? How is it being celebrated? And then the over importance that is being drawn to it. You know, from the way I see it, the whole essence to this Valentine celebration is to celebrate love, okay? And that's basically to show love to your spouse or to a loved one, to family, to friends, which means that you can customize it how and whatever way you choose to. You know, but before we go on to our discussion today, I would like to read you some fact findings that I got trying to build up today's discussion. So in 2016, it was estimated that Americans spent $19.7 billion on Valentine's Day. Out of this, $4.5 billion was spent on jewelry. Some women and men will be pressured to have sex on Valentine's Day. It is estimated that 11 million pregnancies happen on Valentine's Day, a higher percentage from single people. The third fact, millions of women and men feel lonely not having a partner on Valentine's Day. Some of them engage in self-pity, which degenerates to low self-esteem, depression, or psychological breakdown. Fourth fact finding, men and women are jealous seeing others receiving roses, chocolates, cakes, shoes, cards, dresses, etc. on Valentine's Day. Need I say more? The list is endless. You're welcome to Living and Loving on LCBN UK with Mabel Briggs. It's a very fantastic Saturday afternoon, and it was Valentine's Day yesterday. I hope you had fun spending time with family, with friends, and basically, you know, with loved one. This is LCBN UK Livecom TV, and of course, the station hosts Living and Loving every Saturday by 12 noon to 1 p.m. Today, we will discuss love, okay? We're going to be looking at the different kinds of love, which one is more important, and then, you know, you can, you know, we would now understand what this love, different kinds of love are, and then we'll look at the very most important one out of them, and that's the basis actually of my today's discussion. Okay, let me not let the cat out of the bag. Like I always say when you come on Living and Loving with Mabel, it's a time to learn and to get wisdom. So it's very important that you should always have a pen and a paper nearby so that you can take notes and all that. And I always want to let you guys know that the show is live and you can call in. If you're unable to call into the show and you have questions or contributions or comments that you would like to send across to me, there's an email address now that you can reach me on. It's scrolling on the screen, but I'll just call it out to you. It's Living and Loving with Mabel at lcbnuk.com. I will repeat it again. Living and Loving with Mabel at lcbnuk.com. I receive emails there, so you can send me comments, questions, counseling needs. If you have something bothering you and you want to reach out to me, you can send me an email and then we can start building up our discussion from there. It's Living and Loving with Mabel at lcbnuk.com. UK. Okay, we'll take a short break. We'll listen to some music, and then you will get ready and prepare yourself for 1 hour of love talk. Okay, and then we'll be right back to continue with the show. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. It's Living and Loving on LCBN UK. You're welcome back to Living and Loving with Mabel on LCBN UK. Before we went on a short break, I said that we're going to be talking about love today. Yesterday was Valentine's Day, and I hope you had fun. You had time to rest. Okay, well, it was a work day, but I'm sure you had time. You made out time to spend with family, with loved ones, with friends, which is very, very important. Like I said during my introduction, some of us basically don't even know the origin of Valentine's Day. But what we've done is that we've penciled out that day to spend time with loved ones, okay? There's so many myths and so many stories behind the concept of Valentine's Day. So many. I don't really want to even go into it. But you see, basically, what we as Christians have decided to do is to use that day to show love to one another, even though we should normally show love to each other on a normal basis, on an everyday basis. But that day we've just picked it out as a time to specially appreciate people that we love, and that means so much to us and that dear to us. So we take time out to send gifts, make a call, a special call, visit, and just generally spend time loving on these people. Today we're going to be talking about love, the different kinds of love, having an understanding of what this love are, because a lot of us we just talk about love without really getting and understanding what having a deeper meaning of love. We don't understand what love is, and there's a lot of misconception about love. And today we're going to try to break it down and get us to understand it, so that when you're expressing your feelings or your emotions or love to someone, you would really know what you are expressing, so that you would probably not use the word flippantly and really mean when it is mean when you say I love you, or I feel love towards you. You would know when to use it and not just use it anyhow. That word has been totally abused, totally abused. And so today we're going to be learning what the different kinds of love and how we can use it, and the most important one of them all. Okay, it's like I said, it's a live show. You can always place a call so that we can have a discussion. You don't agree with something I'm saying, you want clarity on something that I'm saying, something resonates with you and you want to make a contribution, you're free to do that. You want to ask a question, you're free to do that. You have an experience in whatever I'm talking about, the topic for the day, you're free to do that. If you're unable to call, you can send me an email. The email is going across the screen, but then I will just call it out so that you can write it out. It's Living and Loving with Mabel at LCBN UK. You want counseling, you want someone to just listen to you, you have an issue, a pressing issue, and you're stuck. You don't know what to do about it, and you need an opinion. You want someone to just come into it and throw more light into it. I'm available for you to help at every given time. You want healing for issues of your heart, broken pieces of your heart. You want to seek God's face. You want to understand a situation or a phase that you're going through, and you need someone to talk to. I am available. I'm just an email away, or call away, or a text away. Just send an SMS or a WhatsApp, or place a call, or just send an email, and I'll get back to you in the shortest time possible. Okay, before, so that we can maximize time, there are different kinds of love. Okay, but today I'm just going to be talking about 3 kinds, because I want to be able to flesh it out a lot so that you can understand. But there are several kinds. The first one I'm going to be talking about is the Eros love. Okay, the Eros love is the one that a lot of us no, it's one that's common with a lot of us, a lot of married people, and I dare say a lot of single people these days, and which is the passionate and sexual intimacy. Okay, so when you engage in sexual intimacy with someone, that love that you display, that love that is being displayed at that moment is eros. Okay, it is the love that we as humans like I said, mostly exhibit, on a daily basis. So when a guy meets a girl in these days, and everyone starts to out of wedlock feels the needs, feels a physical and bodily attraction. A lot of us call it love. It's eros. It's an emotional feeling. It's a physical feeling that we feel. We feel attracted to this person. And so when we now engage in sexual intercourse, is our body displaying this action. It's not the actual love you really want to build any foundation of marriage on. Totally, it's not, because it's a feeling. It's something that comes and goes. For those that are married, you don't always constantly want to have sex with your partner. You don't finish now and then the moment, the second after you're done, you want to have sex even while you're. Well, there are some people that are that insistent, but no, it's not a normal thing for you to always constantly want to have sex with someone on a daily, on an hourly or minutely basis. So it's a feeling that comes and goes. So when it comes, you want to engage in this act. And then the moment you engage in this act, you feel satisfied and you move on. So you cannot tell me that you will base the institution of marriage on a feeling, because it's not love. It's just a feeling that comes per time. And God created it and put it in us so that we'll be able to have for marriage, so that we can have a fusion with our partners, with man, woman coming together in marriage. There'll be a daily or bi-daily or weekly fusion, so that eventually we come together and really fuse. That's what sex is. Sex gives a sense of partnership. It gives a sense of togetherness. It gives a sense of belonging for couples. They feel closer together. They're able to connect together when they engage in sexual intercourse, and that's why God created it. And then also for reproduction. And so there's a reason and there's a purpose for why God created sex. It's not to be abused the way it is abused now. And so that feeling and that emotion you feel per time with that person is called eros. And so of course when eros comes, you feel, you have sex, and then that feeling goes until such a time when there's that feeling again, and then you have it. So when I see people, just basing a marriage, the notion of marriage on the foundation of eros, I know that it's not a solid foundation to build marriage upon, because the truth is that it's not every time you want to have sex, and the truth is that it's not everyone you have sex with that you eventually, out of marriage, that I mean in this context, it's not everyone that you have sex with out of marriage, not in the marriage context, that you really want to spend the rest of your life with. And the honest truth is that for even those that are married, it takes more than sex to want to be together. It takes more than sex, because if it's only sex that brought them together, they probably would not even want to be with this person. Because there must be something more that brings you together to want to spend the rest of your life with this person. It can't be only sex. It can't be. Because then if it's only sex, then everyone walking on the road can just meet somebody today and get in bed with the person and say, okay, we're married tomorrow. Well, that's what's happening. But it's not the way God intended and God planned it out to be. So we need to get it into our heads that we can't build marriage on just sex. We can't build relationships on just sex, except it's something that is touch and go. Except is it something that is that doesn't have a future. But then you can't continue to give yourself and give your life and give your body and give your emotions to someone to just use that way and dump that way. It's not healthy. So you must understand this. If a feeling, a sexual feeling comes, it comes. It's not love. It's just a feeling that comes and you act upon it and then it goes. It's nothing to build a lifetime of how will I put it? It's nothing to build a lifetime of commitment on sex. Okay, very important. I hope we got something from there. So if you're in a sexual relationship with anyone other than your spouse, you are involved in sex before marriage, sex is not a measurement of how much he or she loves you. It's not a measurement. You don't use sex to measure. I see a lot of single ladies use sex to measure. They're like, oh, if I probably give myself to him as many times as he wants, it shows that he loves me. Even in marriage, having sex so many times doesn't really put the marriage or keep the marriage together. Yes, it gives you, you're able to bond together, but then there are there's a more solid foundation whereby the marriage should be built upon. It shouldn't be built on sex. And that's when I see a lot of people say, oh, I want to get married because I want to legalize my sex life. So you've been in a relationship outside marriage and you've been having sex with him or her, and then because you feel that it's wrong, it's sin, and you're offending God, and you decide, you know what, I want to get married to this person, not because you've seen that there's a common ground. It's just that, you know what, I need a sexual partner. I can't be single. I can't be alone without sex, and so let's just legalize the sex. That's basically what a lot of marriages are: legalized sex. And so they go to a court or they go to church and then they legalize sleeping together. And then at the end of the day, 5 years, sometimes less than 5 years, a year or 2 years into the marriage, they're wondering, what am I doing with him? What am I doing with her? There's nothing that, there's nothing that's keeping me there other than the sex. And probably when the sex is, you're tired of it, you start to jump out or you start to look for someone else that gives you that thrill that you want to experience. So you see, it's really key. You can't base marriage on sex. Sex is not a measurement of how much he loves me or how much I love her. You can't measure it. It's not a measuring tool. Like I said, it's a feeling that comes and goes. Okay, it's a feeling that comes and goes. Okay. So the next one, I think I've said enough of that. It's something that I've been saying about constantly on the show. Sex is for marriage. It's for fusing. It's a bonding system, like I said, designed by God. It's meant for emotional and spiritual bonding of married couples, and of course reproduction. Like I said, sex is good. God promoted it. God created it. God put it in man for a purpose, and we are abusing that purpose, and it shouldn't be. So don't base your marriage on sex. It won't work. It definitely won't work. The next one is the filial love, and the filial love basically is I feel that most marriages should start with friendship love, brotherly love. It's an understanding love that exists between two friends. It's friendship love. So it's a girl friendship love. It's a boy friendship love. So I have a girlfriend. That's the love that we exhibit. Oh, she calls me, I call her. I'm concerned about her. I check up on her from time to time, or he checks up on him from time to time. We hang out together. We just that act is called a filial love. It's a friendship love, a body love. You're familiar with this person, and so that's the love you show. There's another one called a toge or a toj. I don't know. I'm not getting it. A toj. That's the love that is exhibited between family. So this is my sibling, this is my my brother, my sister, my cousin, my aunt, my nephew, my niece, you know, first cousins, third cousins. That's a toge love. That's what exists between those kind of relationship. But we're talking about filial love. Filial love is basically friendship love. Friendship love, we just exhibit it. It's friendship love. And so I tell people this: you meet a girl, you meet a guy. There's a topic you know, I would love to treat one of these days, and it's something that I really want. It's an interactive topic, and it's, can you actually have, or is it possible to have a girl-guy relationship that is just friendship and platonic without any strings attached? It's very possible, totally possible. This day and age, we don't make it possible because everybody jumps into a relationship with that notion of, I am looking for a married partner, I'm looking for a marriage partner, I'm looking for someone to get married to. So the moment someone says hi to you, you're already thinking marriage. No, it's totally wrong. And it's because every one of us, in that phase, or in that stage, or you know, in that, with that mindset, is actually looking for a sense of belonging, is actually looking for love, you know, from everyone. And when I mean love, it's probably you probably have been abandoned. You have, okay, so let me use the right, daddy issues. You have daddy issues. If it's a lady, you have daddy issues, and so you're looking for someone to love you. You're looking for a guy to love you, and give you that kind of fatherly love that you're missing. But you think it's love you want, and so any guy you see comes your way, the next thing you're looking for is that person that will fill that role, that fatherly role that was void in my life. And the moment that guy comes and say hello, you're already looking at him, okay, potential husband, you know, he'll be a good father to my child and all that, without even really regarding this person and really getting to know this person on a friendship level. On a friendship level. And then when you start with that kind of with that kind of stage in your relationship, and you know, unfortunately you jump into sex, it's all molded up. It's all molded up. Eventually, even if the guy says, okay, marry me, you're not even sure you really know this person. Sometimes you're asking couples that intend to get married, what do you like about her? Why do you want to get married to her? And some of them don't really know. Oh, he makes me, why do you want to get married to her? He makes me laugh. That's not, like, I'm like, okay, is that all? Yes, you need some kind of humor in your marriage, because there are going to be times where you need each other to, you know, to for yourselves to be happy. But then that's not really the reason why you want to get yourself tied to someone for the rest of your life. What else have you seen that is informing you that this is the person you want to spend the rest of your life with? Some people don't even know how to answer that question. Some people have not processed it long enough because they have not been with that person long enough. When I mean be with the person long enough, I'm not measuring it by time. I'm measuring it by quality. How quality is the time you have spent with that person? Have you asked that person some delicate questions that have to do with their foundation, where they are coming from, their upbringing, their backgrounds? Do you even know anything about that person? Do you know where that person is coming from? Do you know if that person was abused as a child? Do you know if that person was abused sexually or physically as a child? Do you know if that person was abandoned as a child? What happened to the person's father, mother, their relationship? Was he brought up? Was he brought up with uncles and aunts? You need to know all this. This is very, very important. Very important. And how can you get to know all this if you spend time with the person? Quality time. But if you already have that notion, oh, this is, and you're already looking at him as, oh, a marriage, this is someone that I want to get married to. You're looking, it's all marriage. It's all marriage. You already have a mindset. So even when the person starts to display some abnormal behavior, you see, you already have a mindset that, oh, this person looks good for marriage and I can settle with this person. You ignore whatever it is that you're seeing that could actually be potential problems. You ignore it because you know what, this is, I'm sure it's something that is one-off. I'm seeing some other things that I think I like. He has a car, he has a house, he has a good job, he plays with kids, he's okay, he treats me well. But you're not looking at some other foundational truths that are necessary, or facts rather, that are necessary to help you build whatever dossier you need to make a decision if this is the right person for you. And so you must approach any relationship on the friendship, on the filial level. It's very, very important. It's very important. Someone says it's totally impossible, but you see, you need to get to the point where you understand these things. Probably when you see so many failed marriages around you, you get to start to ask questions. You get curious to want to know, why are they getting it wrong? What's the problem? And because I've been in a failed marriage, I've had failed marriages around me, I've cancelled a lot of failed marriages, it made me go back to think and study what are we getting wrong. And that's some of the things I'm bringing to you. I'm also talking to you from my experience. I got married to someone that I totally didn't know. I was pregnant, and I felt that, okay, my child would need a father. And he was also considering marriage, and he was open to marriage. And so I always heard that, oh, you shouldn't bring a child into the world out of wedlock. The child will probably be doomed. And, all those lies I heard constantly. And I said, okay, you know what? Since he wants to get married, okay, let me have a covering and a home for my child. Which was a totally wrong reason to even get into marriage in the first place. And so I got married to someone that I didn't know his foundation. I didn't know how he grew up. I didn't know the things that went on with him growing up. I never asked him questions. In 6 months, we're married. And then I got married, or is it tied to this person in marriage? And then I started discovering a lot of things. And I was like, oh my God, I have made a big mistake. A totally big mistake. He knew nothing about me. I knew nothing about him. We were just foreign to each other. We just started discovering ourselves when we got into marriage. And we're like, oh my God. And I was like, if I knew, I shouldn't have gotten into it. But I'm in there already. And I started struggling to make it work. But there were so many things that started coming to light that if I knew half of what I knew then, I would have just said, you know what, I don't think it's the right way. Secondly, again, because I was quite young and I was totally ignorant of the things to look out for. I wasn't knowledgeable. I didn't have all the knowledge that I have now. And that's why I'm passing it on to you. I didn't have that knowledge, so I didn't know what to look out for. I didn't know what the advantages of having these things were. And so I didn't know. Thirdly, I was totally in a mess. Emotionally, totally. I was dealing with a lot of, foundational defects. Totally broken, fragmented. And so I didn't even know, I didn't even have an identity. And so there were so many things wrong with me. But I just thought that, oh, someone has shown me love because he slept with me. So for me, I've said it on the show, for me then, love was, oh, if anyone sleeps with me, it's love. Eros love. I just felt that was love. I measured love by Eros love. And it was totally wrong. And today the marriage is over. It's totally over with a lot of more heartaches and a lot of things that I would have avoided. So, plus the issues that was coming from my foundation that I had not totally healed from, I brought more into it. And when I got out of that marriage, I was totally in a mess, almost at the end of my life, I was almost taking my life away. I was almost committing suicide because I felt that there was nothing to live by. That someone this broken and battered cannot even make it in this world. I felt that there was nothing left for me. And so I was ready to take my life. I was ready to take my life until, I got to the point where Jesus found me and made me know that there was more to my life than just this. And I started looking for that more. And here I am today. So like I said, living and loving is all about some of my experiences, bringing it out to the forefront, mixing it with God's word, experiences of people that I've had chance to counsel, common mistakes, common issues that surround us on a daily basis that we make over and over and over again because of lack of knowledge. So living and loving is, in totality, is all about that. Bringing wisdom to you through real life experiences so that you can see that these things are happening around you. But then there's a solution and you can get out of it and not just go the line and continue to toe the line that every other person is towing and making the same mistakes and expecting a different result. No. So you must approach relationships on the friendship level. Be friends. Basically, be friends. It's not everyone that you come in contact with in this life that you must have a sexual relationship with or that you will even get married to. But you can be friends with everyone that you meet in this life. You can be. You totally can. I remember 2 Sundays ago, I was at the train station and I needed to buy a ticket. And I realized that I didn't transfer money into my card. And I was stuck because my data on my phone wasn't just functioning for some reason. And I was stuck and I needed to get on the train. And then I met this very lovely lady. First met this guy that was willing, but then as it was about turning on his hotspot for me, his train came, and I wouldn't be that selfish to keep him, there for my own advantage, and then he loses, his train. And I told him, you know what, it's fine, I'll find someone else. And he left. And then a lady came, and then I asked her, and she was like, oh, that she didn't have an internet-enabled phone because her daughter dropped her phone in water. But then, you know what, she decided that, she was going to make it her duty to make sure that she got someone for me. And then there was a guy passing, and she called him and said, please, can this lady just use your hotspot? She needs to do something quickly. And then the guy obliged me, and I was able to transfer money, get my ticket. And I met the lady on the train, and we gisted, and that was it. Fast forward to today, I was going to church. I was on the train, and just before I boarded the train, I met her, and I was like, oh, how are you? And she was like, oh, we meet again. And there were hugs, and there were pecks, and there were kisses. And then, she had like just a stop, and I had like several stops. But then we made most of the time together, and we gisted. The Sunday before that, I realized that she had an empty buggy. And today she had the same empty buggy. And then she says, oh, I'm sure you've always wondered why you waste me with an empty buggy. And then she explained that she was going to pick up her daughter. And we talked so long. And she was like, oh, why are you going this far? I said, I'm going to church. She said, oh, you must really have faith to go that far. Eventually, I know that I'm still going to meet her next week, Sunday. And I'm going to witness to her because obviously I know that she's not going to church. But you see, we're friends now. There's a common ground for a discourse, for a discussion, and we met, and she's a likable person. In short, when she was leaving, she told me her name, which I have forgotten. Christ, but I told her my name, and she was like, oh, I'm pregnant, and I'm going to steal your name for my baby. And I was like, oh, that's so cool, and she was like, see you next week Sunday. And this friendship, I have guy friends that we just talk and gist. We've already drawn a boundary that, this cannot be more than it is. Just friendship. And there's an understanding. And everybody's being friends genuinely. We need friendship. It's very important. We do need friendship. So we must always approach every relationship, man, girl, girl, as friendship. It's very, very important. And then the next phase from friendship, you build on it. When you have seen each other as friends for a while, you've got into, the truth is that you can tell your friend anything. But when you have already come with the mindset of a relationship, you hold back some things. But if it's friend, you will open up and you will gist, because this one is just my friend. You will gist. I have a friend that got married to her friend. They were friends, and she told him everything about her past relationship. There was a relationship she was even in when when before she married him, because they were friends, she was able to open up and she gisted him everything. And then eventually, when they started advancing and realizing that, oh, they were now seeing each other more than friendship, she was like, oh my God, if I knew that this was going to happen, I would never have told you all the things I told you. But you see, really, who do you want to get married to? Your friend or someone, or a stranger? Your friend, your buddy. Because you see, at the end of the day, friendship is what holds that marriage. After the sex, it's friendship that still keeps you guys together in marriage. I have a friend today that what's keeping her marriage together is the fact that she is friends with her husband. Totally. That's like, she's friends with her husband. That's what's keeping their marriage together. And they've been going on for almost 20-something years. That's what's keeping that marriage together. The friendship, the fact that they can both sit down, they can both discuss, they have a common goal, they have a common vision, they can rub minds together. They just complete each other. That's what is keeping that marriage together. So after the sex, after everything, you must be friends. You must be friends. You must respect and regard each other. You must be friends. And that's what holds that marriage together. It's very important, guys. And I know it's possible. We just have to get ourselves completely whole, heal from whatever emotional unhealthiness that we are in, deal with it, come out of that low self-esteem, have confidence, find your identity. When you do all this, trust me, you will be confident enough and at rest to have guy-girl friendship. Trust me, you will. You'll be so confident in yourself that, a guy can be your friend. And you won't feel anything or enter with any notion. And when you're not desperate, it's totally possible. Totally possible. So, and I'll give a biblical stance of the filial. David and Jonathan, they were that kind of friend. Jonathan was totally in love. When I mean he was in love with David. He celebrated David. He was gunning for David at every time. He was actually supposed to be the next king. If you look at it in hierarchy. But you see, God had already anointed David. But you see, he didn't deter Jonathan at all. He was not jealous. He was not envious of him. He was still gunning for him. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to stand behind you. I'm going to root for you. I'm standing by you. He was the Bible says that that the soul of Jonathan was knit to the soul of David. Jonathan loved him as his own soul. Totally. That's filial love. Friendship. Total regard, kindness to one another. Total kindness. So I'm using that word because, I'm looking for a word to describe it. Friendship, where there's mutual respect, there's love for one another, there's regard, there's respect for one another, and you guys are just there rooting for each other. Standing up for each other, being there for each other. When the other falls, that other person is there holding that person. And when the Bible talks about two being together, what do you think it was? Some will look at it in a marriage sense, yes, but that's friendship. That's friendship first. It says when another one is down, the other one is there to hold him up. Say iron and sharpen iron. Those verses are talking about friendship. First, before marriage, friendship first. Okay, we'll take a short break. I'm already rounding up because I'm going to go to the last one. We'll take a short break, and then we'll listen to some music, and then I'll be right back, and we'll round up on the 3 kinds of love that we're talking about today. Like I said, there's so many kinds, but we're just talking about 3 kinds of love today. Okay, stay tuned. This is Living and Loving with Mabel on LCBN UK.
You are good, oh, you are kind, you are good, oh, right down the building. Another one don't come, another one don't come, another one don't come. I know fit to complain, maybe miracle God away. miracle God, the way you tickle my body, Papa, you dey do me something for body, something. The way you carry my matter for head, you dey do me something for body. Oh singo, 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 oh singo, 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 oh singo, 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 oh sing hallelujah. Oh singo, 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 oh singo, 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 oh singo, 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 oh singo Ghana. I no fit to complain, you be miracle God, I no fit to complain, you be miracle God, just me, onyo bioma, over me, over me, onyo bioma. If you say make I stay, I go stay. If you say make I go, I go go. If you say make I jump, I go jump, pass. If you say make I stay, I go stay. If you say make I go, I go go. If you say make I jump, I go jump, pass. The way you tickle my body, Papa, you dey do me something for body, something. The way you carry my matter for head, you dey do me something for body. Oh singo, 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 oh singo, 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 oh singo, 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 oh sing hallelujah. Oh singo, 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 oh singo, 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 oh singo, 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 oh singo Ghana. What's the 𝐰𝐈𝐕𝐈 miracle God, onyame kese, miracle God, 𝐰𝐕𝐈𝐈 miracle God, 𝐷𝐷𝐷𝐷𝐷, miracle God, obiara nti sewa, what's the 𝐰𝐈𝐈𝐈 miracle God. Everybody sing. Everybody jump. Everybody jump. Everybody jump. Jump, 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 jump. Everybody wave. Everybody wave. Trains in the air. Trains in the air. What's the 𝐰𝐈𝐈𝐈 miracle God, 𝐰𝐕𝐈𝐈 obiara nti sewa, miracle God, miracle God, miracle God, you be miracle God, miracle God, miracle God, miracle God,
You're welcome back to Living and Loving with Mabel on LCBN UK. It's been a fantastic time spending talking about love. Yesterday was Valentine. Like I said, I hope you had fun. I hope you spent time with friends. You were able to carve out time to spend quality time with family, even though it was a work day. But I'm sure that probably after work, you were able to appreciate someone that's been in your life, that has really been there for you, that has stood by you. Husbands, I hope you showed your wife some love. It's not only on Valentine's Day you should express love, but you see, you can do something totally special on Valentine's Day. But on every day, on a daily basis, you should be expressive of your love. Friends, I hope you were able to take time out to have drinks, have a meal together, and just basically love on yourselves. It's very, very important. Friendship is very, very important, very key. Friendship in marriage and friendship outside marriage is totally, we need each other, and that's what God's plan for us is, that we'll always have someone there at every point in time, or people there at any point in time, that would hold ourselves up and hold us up and help us stand. It's very, very key. We're not, like the says, we're not an island. You can't do it all alone. So we've been talking about love. We've talked about the eros love, which is the sexual love. We've talked about the toge love. Toge love is the brotherly, sibling, family love. We've talked about the filial love, which is friendship love. That's what we have between boy, girl, girl, boy, across. That's filial love. So the last one that we're going to talk about today, but not the last one, which is supposed to be the first one, but I made it last because it's the most important one, is the agape love. And that's what Jesus came to show us. The agape love, that's the God kind of love. This one is totally sacrificial. You see, every other love that we've talked about, it's conditional and it's non-sacrificial. Yes, we can have friends, but you see, the truth is that at some point, man will always be man. Human beings will always be human beings. And God created it that way because you cannot totally depend on man for too many things, because we're not built like that. A man cannot totally give you all the love needs that you need in this world. No. There's a depth in you that was created by God that only Him alone can feel. Not anyone can feel. And that's why you must have a relationship with God. Man, woman, husband and wife. Your husband cannot totally feel all that love need that you want. They can give you eros love because yes, they are committed to you, and they, their body, you share one body. They can give you filial love. They can give you filial love because you're friends be first, but they can't give you agape love. They can't give you unsacrificial love. And that's the honest truth. You rarely find someone that will want to die for their spouses. No, even when they try to say, probably there'll be no death. But even when there's a death, even when the spouse cries, the spouse cries so much and say, oh, bury me with him. Eventually, she doesn't die with him. It's not, that kind of love is not sacrificial. The only love that is unconditional and sacrificial is the God kind of love, and that is the agape love. And that's what we normally should build on as a foundation. That's what Jesus came to give and show us by His death on the cross. By His death on the cross. The Bible says that for God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in Him will not perish but have everlasting life. So what manner of love is this? That a man would lay down his life. That a man would lay down his life for people that that didn't even know Him. He knows them, but they didn't even know Him. Who does that? Who dies for another person? Who does that? It's a deliberate act. It's a deliberate love. It's something that He knew He was going to do. He had a chance to decide not to do it. And I dare say that humanity would have been totally done for. But I'm so glad He gave. He could have decided, you know what, I'm not going to do this. It's too much for me. At some point, He was like, oh, Father, if this cup can pass over. But He says, Thy will, Lord, be done. And He eventually surrendered Himself and His life to God's will. And He did it. He gave us that love. He came and He showed us that love on the cross. And that's the love we should major on God's love. on God's love. It's totally important. Because you see, if you don't have the agape love, you cannot really express in fullness the other kinds of love. You can't really express it in full. You can't. Because you see, agape love is the foundation that you build filial love on. It's the foundation that you build toge love on. It's the foundation that you build eros love on. That's the foundation. It says, and the first is love. Love thy neighbor as themselves. You must love. The first thing, the first commandment is love. Is love. And I dare say God is saying, the love I have shown you, now give to others. Now give, show it. Have shed it abroad in your heart. Because you are aware of this love, and I have put it in everyone, every single person, by my death on the cross. Now I'm saying, I have shown you this measure of love. Now show everyone that comes around you that same measure. So that's why I said it's a foundation that you build every other kind of love on. And basically today I'm calling you to understand God's love for you. God's love for you. That's what I'm calling you to understand. That's what Valentine love is for. And Valentine celebration is for us. It's just totally celebrating God's love for humanity and the love that He has asked for us to show and share to everyone around us and amongst us. So it's very, very key that everyone around you in your life, you must show love. Show love. The Bible says that we should love thy neighbor as ourselves. Why did he say that? Because he has shown you that love. And he has loved you with an everlasting love. And he has shown you the kind of love that he wants you to show and to share to others. And so you must be first perfect in God's love to be able to give love to the next person. Totally. You must get to the point where you understand God's love and receive his love. And I'm calling you today to receive that love. If you've not received it, you've not known Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, you're totally broken, you don't even understand where you are. It is because you have not come to the point where you've understood that God has died and he has totally taking care of every situation that you're in. The reason why you're not understanding it is because you're not walking in the victory that he had already wrought on the cross of Calvary for you. When you understand it, you will fight from a place of victory, not for victory, because he's giving you that victory already, totally, in totality. All that he did, he says, it is finished on the cross. Everything that you're going through has been totally sorted out. But you don't and can't understand him because you don't know him. And you've not yet come to understand who he is and the love that he has for you. And so I'm calling you, and it's an invite for you today to come and know this God. That will totally get you to the point where you can start understanding the phase and the situations and the struggles and the heartaches that you're going through. You know, I was with a friend a couple of weeks ago, and she was totally broken, totally broken. She's going through so much. Her life is so hard, I dare say, because having to listen to some of the things that she's going through, I personally was totally broken for her. But then I told her, I said, you have not come to the point where you have accepted God's love for you. Because when you open your heart to receive that love, you will start to get an understanding of the situations that you're finding yourself in. Some of it will totally just go away. Because God's love in that situation illuminates you. And you can see the situation for what it is. And she was like, how does she receive it? How? I said, she said, why is she not receiving? I said, because you've blocked your heart away from it. All you just need to do, if you're listening to me and you're watching me, just open your heart to God. A lot of us have become so defensive. We've built a wall around our hearts because of the many times where our hearts have been broken, and the many times we've gone through a lot of heartaches. So we've built a wall. I did at some point. I was done with heart pain and with so much pain and hurt in my life. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just done. But I realized I was just in one place. I couldn't move and advance. And until when I got to the point where I started understanding God's love for me and trying to receive that love that God was giving me, as I received it gradually, I realized that I was becoming free. My heart was no more congested. There was now a peace that flooded me. The situations didn't go away, but then I could see through the eyes of God's love. I could see differently. The people that I felt hurt me to the point of no forgiveness, when God flooded me with his heart, I found that I had more of compassion for them than hate. I understood that if God could forgive me in all my unfaithfulness, who am I not to forgive them? I started seeing them the way God saw them. I was now no more a victim. Instead, I was now on the side of God and looking at them to help them even come out from the things that they're going through. One thing you must know today is that hurting people hurt others. So those that have hurt you are also hurting. They don't know what else to do to you than to hurt you, because that's what they are going through, hurt. So it's just a vicious circle that keeps going around, that you must get to the point where you decide that, I'm going to break it. And it's hurting, but I'm going to decide that I'm going to do it differently. And it ends here. I'm going to turn around. Instead of passing it on to my next generation, I'm going to turn around and look at that hurt in the face and just radiate God's love in it and through it, so that it starts to repair that whole circle. It's very, very important. Receive God's love. It illuminates you. It opens your heart. It opens your eyes. It opens your mind. And you start to see people the way God sees them. And that's the honest truth. Instead of hate, you start to have compassion. Because that's what God has towards your love and compassion. And so today I invite you to just know this God. I never want to end the program without inviting you to know God. And so, I right now release the power of God to everyone that is listening and that is watching. And I know that right now you're sensing the power of God in wherever you are. The atmosphere around you is changing because He's here right now. And I just invite you to know God and just accept Jesus Christ into your heart as your personal Lord and Savior. And so just repeat after me in these words. You can also say it in your own words. And just say, Father, I invite you into my heart today. I want to get to know this love that Mabel has been talking about. I want to be free in my heart. I want to be free in my life. I want to have an understanding of the things that I'm going through. I'm at a point where I no more want to do this on my own. And so I invite you, oh God. I receive you, accept you in my heart as my personal Lord and Savior. Save me, oh God. Repair me. Break me and mold me, and then start to help me, oh God, understand and receive your love more. In Jesus' name I pray. Thank God for your life if you just accepted Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior. And I dare say that even as you have done that, like I said, the problem will not go away, but then you will see clearly. You start to see things differently and you start to act differently. Find the Bible believing church and just go there and fellowship and grow in the things of the Spirit. And the Holy Spirit will start to teach you things that your mind would just totally blow your mind. God will continue to unravel His love and His word to you and around you. And you start to at least fellowship with people and brethren and feel the love of God around you. People around us are there to physically express God's love for us. If you start to see it that way, a handshake, a hug, a peck on the cheek, a tap on the back, a smile, you would understand that God is just expressing his love to you through people. And then give it back. That's all that is asked of you. Just give it back and be that person and be that ambassador for Jesus Christ. It's been a fantastic day. I have so much smile on my face because I'm talking about love. I love love, and so I love God so much. And I hope you do and enjoy the rest of your day. I'll be here same time next week talking about totally something different, but it would definitely have to do with love and marriage. Totally, we're going back in. Okay, enjoy your day, and remember that transformation is an inside job. Have a blessed evening and good night.